Hello everybody, back again with another video. Today is an off day from the Tata Steel 2021 chess tournament. This video is one of the videos requested by one of the supporters and fans of this channel. So we're gonna take a look today at the Hennig-Schara Gambit, or the Schara-Hennig Gambit. You know, depending on where you're from, is who's going to get the credit for it. I'm going to use the game Pirc versus Alekhine 1931 as my example, and we're going to go off of that. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Sugar Bear Chirac. Chirac is slang for Chicago, for those of you who don't know, and also Excelmans, another person who contributed for guessing who the player was at top in the other video, which was none other than the young pre-dyed hair Jennifer Shahadi. So thank you for participating and adding a little fun to the channel. Here's another player up here. If you could tell me who that is, if you're the first one rather to let me know who that is in the video, I'll give you a shout out on the next video. And also feel free to suggest a topic or opening that you want to cover. And this is what we're doing today. A cult to me asked me to present an aggressive black opening, so that, I mean, there's many openings to choose from. So I chose the Hennig-Schara Gambit. So let's get right into it. We're going to look at this game, Pirc Alekhine from Bled 1931. As far as the history of this is concerned, Anton Schara was the first to analyze the Gambit, and then I had a few games, but von Hennig was the one that really introduced it and to serious practice. So there you go. There's your little history lesson on that. So let's go. Pirc has the white pieces. Yes, that is the creator of the Pirc's defense. So we're gonna get into it. The game started off d4 from Pirc, d5 from Alekhine. I hope you like the pictures, by the way. I like Pirc's picture down next to the white pieces, by the way, because it's super old. Like, you know a dude is old if they just have like a picture that looks like a sketch, for his picture. You know, that's like, dudes are super old and they have like a portrait, like a painting. So I just get a kick out of that. But anyway, back to the game. d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, my pick. So just regular Queen's Gambit stuff. And now c5. Now, those of you who are familiar with some chess openings know this is the Tarish defense. All right. And the main line Tarish after c takes d5 would go e takes d5, knight f3, knight c6, g3, knight f6, and so forth. And many grandmaster games have been played in this. Black takes on the isolated pawn in exchange for rapid development and free piece play. None other than Garry Kasparov actually was it inherent to this. Also Boris Spassky, who used this defense 3 times effectively against Tigran Petrosian to win the World Chess Championship in 1966. This defense has had its ups and downs over the years, right? But black is taking on a positional weakness in the isolated pawn, and the antidote, the formula, the way black has to play is dynamism, activity. So if you're not that type of player, you're not an active player, you don't like a lot of tactics, this is probably not the opening for you. But this is for the aggressive and not faint of heart. So that's the Tarish. Hennig-Schara Gambit takes it to another level. So after this opening sequence here, after c takes d5 instead of e takes d5, black plays c takes d4, challenging the knight. Now there's two responses here. Usually white will either play queen takes d4 right away or queen a4 check with the same results. But let's look at the difference. So in the game, Pick went for queen a4. Let's see why. If you play queen takes d4 right away, black has this immediate knight c6, all right, developing against the queen. And notice the knight capture by the pawn will be bad because the queen is just hanging on d4. This is why queen a4 is played first, as in the game. I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes, but queen a4 after check, bishop d7, and now queen takes d4. And notice with the bishop interposed on d7, now black can't just develop the knight to c6 hitting the queen. So that's the idea behind throwing that check in first and then playing queen d4. So some players don't really agree with that. You know, like for instance, Hans Berliner, I remember reading in the book The System, I think his book is called, where he kind of frowns upon this idea of queen a4 check and then queen d4. He says just take it immediately, just take the pawn immediately. But that's a topic for a different day. E takes d5, and now queen takes d5. So you can see here, obviously black is down material. All right, so what is black getting in exchange for this material? Well, it gets 2 pawns. I'm sorry, black gets 2 pawns. Black is getting 2 open files and 1 semi-open file, which is the E file. Semi-open because the pawn is on E2. So it's almost open, so semi-open. This is the price for the pawn. And also, again, just as in the Tarish, rapid piece play and the development in attacking chances. And this is exacerbated by the queen's position on d5. All right, so it's these factors together that black is going to try to use, all right, in order to compensate for his material deficit. All right, let me just make you aware that this also can be declined. So for instance, knight f3. All right, but then positions kind of drift into positions that kind of look like the Tarish, right, with the isolated pawn. So white can back off, but then again black still has this free piece play. All right, c8, king b1, and black is okay. He's just playing with the isolated pawn. White tries to get greedy here, same thing. Doesn't look too good. All right, it's hard to get greedy when the player has really active pieces, but it is possible to decline the gambit as white. Another idea, instead of taking the queen, is just knight takes d5, which is kind of anti-positional, as the queen is just left there sitting in the middle to be hit by knight c6, and let's say queen f4, queen a5 check, and you can already see the development. Of course, the knight has to go back because bishop d2, then just simply queen takes d5, knight c3, and you can see black starting to attack here. All right, this is not the type of position white is signing up for. So usually queen takes d5 is played. That's the main line. Knight c6, and again the question throughout the game is going to be, does black have compensation? So knight c6 is played. Knight f6 is playable also. This is a line that I've analyzed very deeply at some point. I've looked at this on and off over the years. I'm not sure if black has enough after queen takes b7. I mean, you're giving up a lot, right? You're active, but you're giving up a lot here. But it's just food for thought, and I'm just sharing it with the viewers. I mean, you want to do your own research. One thing I will say is definitely worth giving a shot, and it's definitely worth playing in rapid games and blitz games. Right, so these are just ideas. Knight f6 is also possible there, but knight c6 followed by knight f6 is also good. Here Pirk played the move bishop g5, and his intention is, of course, he's trying to get his pieces out. He knows what's going on. He's a master, strong player, and he knows, okay, fall behind the development, get smashed. So he's trying to get his pieces out as quick as possible. He already has 2 pieces developed on the queen side, the knight on c3, queen on d5. So he's like, hey, let me bring this last piece out from the queen side, and then he can castle, right? Thus getting more development in the position. That's the idea there. Other options are, simple moves like knight f3, and this is like pretty much like the main line. Knight f3, knight f6, again hitting the queen. The queen goes all the way back, and then you can have, for instance, move like bishop b4. Just to give you an example, bishop c5 is also playable and normal. This position occurred in Portish Velimirovic, 1979. Now, Portish is a great exponent of the Queen's Gambit, and Velimirovic is a great attacking player in the line of Tau. So it's interesting to look at this game. That game continued e3, queen e7, bishop e2, and now g5. Very interesting continuation. Like I told you, Velimirovic is very, very aggressive. Of course, he could have just played castle. But again, you have to remember that if you're black, playing slow you might end up in the position where you're just down a pawn. If white catches up in development, you will have no compensation. You'll just be down a pawn. So this explains black's aggressive posture. So that game with g5, castle's queen side, and then b4, bishop takes b4, queen b3. So giving back the material here. And then Velimirovic played g4. Now better was bishop e6 hitting the queen, but he played g4. And then after knight d4, Portish wound up, of course, giving back the material, of course, and in exchange for the weaknesses that black has left on the board. And Portish with white went on to win this game. But this just gives you an example of the type of positions that can arise here. And there's definitely a lot of scope for creative play here. So bishop c5 is another option. Well, as well as bishop b4, just pinning the knight down. All right. But again, the question is always going to be, does black have enough compensation for the pawn? Because white's plan is just to kind of slow play it. All right. He's going to play e3, bishop e2. He wants to castle. All right. With this type of setup. And the question at the end of the day is, okay, black has all his pieces out, but does he have enough? Okay, and if he doesn't have enough, then he's just a pawn down, and so that's probably the general verdict. But like I said, there's a lot of scope for research and originality in this position. So let's just go back. Again, I don't want to get into all the variations. I have tons of variations, believe me, but don't want to make a 2-hour video as I've done in the past. Bishop g5 was played. Knight f6. All right, again, position of the queen being exploited. And now queen d2. Another option here is just bishop takes, but to me that kind of speeds up black's development a little bit here. So at this point, white's best is probably try to trade queens. Of course, queen g6, avoiding that. But I think black has a decent game at this point. So queen d2 was played. Now Alicon played h6. Again, provoking the bishop into an exchange. And Pirk exchanged here. Interesting is just to play queen e3. Because now black is forced to interpose a piece between the king and queen. So if he doesn't want to trade queens, that's black. Bishop e6 is probably the best. And then white can play rook d1. Let's say queen e7. Bishop takes, queen takes, and knight f3 with the idea of g3, bishop g2 castles as you would see in the Tarish. And again, the onus is on black to prove that he has compensation for the pawn deficit. So that's another way to look at it. So instead of just capturing, as he did, queen e3 is definitely an option. Yeah. So bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, and now e3. Again, Pirc is just trying to slow play it, catch up in development. Knight f3, bishop e2, castles, and maybe bring his queen to c1 or b3 or something like that. Other rook to d1, trade off on the d files, and say, hey, I'm up a pawn. What you gonna do about it? So Alicon, understanding this, knows he has to stir the pot and keep things active here. Perhaps even better for white is just to play knight d5 right away, right? But it's counterintuitive, right, to try to initiate an attack when you're behind in development. But here, after queen d6, e4, knight b4, bishop c4, rook c8, rook c1, knight takes, bishop takes, and rook takes c1. You can see that black, again, being down a pawn, certainly has compensation, and you know, which is due to his lead in development. But knight d5 is another idea. Pirc played e3, which seems reasonable enough, but now you can see Alicon is castled queenside, and again, notice the lead in development. He's already threatening to move the bishop on d7, and Pirc goes with his plan, and he just castles also. But unfortunately for him, he's already in trouble at this point due to the discovery of the bishop on d7. And it would be naive to say Pirc didn't see this or something like that. It's just that he misevaluated the position. In hindsight, a move like queen c2 might have been better, but again, then you have to deal with knight b4. So again, you see the problems that arise. So black, and giving that pawn away and having these open c and d files to use, it's very hard for white to deal with being far behind in development. This is one of those openings that if it's not played precisely, black can equalize or have compensation for the pawn deficit really quickly. So here you see that each side castles queen side, so you have like a almost a symmetrical situation going on. And for those of you that have been following my videos, what do I say about symmetrical positions? I'm waiting. Okay, what it is that when positions are symmetrical, it's very important for one side or the other to get the initiative. Whoever gets the initiative first is definitely going to have the better game because all other things are equal. Now here it's not exactly symmetrical because black is a pawn down, but for all intents and purposes it's pretty symmetrical, and it's important for one side to get a hold of the initiative. And this is what Alicon does. He plays bishop g4, attacking the queen, attacking the rook, and he's going to get the exchange at the very least. Let's see how he does it. So here's Pirc's plan. I'm sure he saw bishop g4, and this is what his idea was. So he plays knight d5 here. All right, and I'm sure he's probably anticipating, the queen move, queen moving somewhere, and then maybe him playing f3 or even bishop e2 to exacerbate the trade of pieces. However, Alicon, being Mr. Dynamic, right, being Kasparov before there was a Kasparov, just simply plays rook takes d5, queen takes d5, and now he plays a very strong move, bishop a3. All right, threatening a checkmate here. Sorry about that. Bishop a3, and the idea here is if pawn takes a3 or b takes a3, then just rook d8, and that's winning. So queen b3 was played, and now bishop takes d1, queen takes a3, and now queen takes f2, and you can see the bishop on f1 is hanging. So queen d3, so protecting the bishop on f1, but this allows the bishop on d1 to go free. Bishop g4, and now knight f3. Alicon takes that, and now the E1 square is available again for black. Pirc throws in a check, king b1, and now queen takes f3, and that keeps an eye on, of course, f1 and e3 pawn. Notice now black has completely equalized the material, all right, but he still has a lead in development, and black has a better pawn structure. Queen e1 check, and this is why the knight was eliminated. And the reason why I have everything highlighted here is because I want to show you that white cannot defend with queen d1 because the pawn on e3 will drop. So king c2, rook c8, again more threats, queen g3 check, and it looks like, hey, black's attack might be over and the game will enter into a draw. But look what Mr. Alekhine has up his sleeve. He blocks the check with the knight coming to e5 and initiates the check of his own. And again, the highlighted arrows show that the king has nowhere to go. The king is flushed out of safety. Also, the boxes in yellow just indicate these undeveloped pieces. Again, to emphasize and reiterate that black's game here is all about activity, piece play, dynamism. You must attack, and you must look for opportunities. All right, so you have to be strong tactically to play this type of gambit. All right, it's the culmination of the black strategy from the beginning. King b3 by Pirc, queen d1, and you can see the end is near. King a3. If king b4, then just a5. King takes a5, rook c5, king b4, and queen d6 will mean discovery coming. Instead, Pirc chose king a3, and after rook c5, then Pirc resigned. All right, so that is the end of that mini lecture on the Hennig Gambit, or von Hennig-Schara Gambit, and that goes out to Occult Me, who requested an aggressive opening for black. So I hope you all enjoyed that video. Please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Hit the buttons, check the links below. I posted some videos and DVDs, and please donate to my channel. That is the first link in the box below. Also, and furthermore, I want to tell you that Chess Audiobooks is on Instagram, so follow me there. Also on Twitter, also on Live Chess, and also on chess.com, all under the name Chess Audiobooks. So if you want to play a game, or if you just want to say hi, you know, I'm there, and I look forward to hearing from all you guys. So let me know how you do with this gambit. Go play some blitz games. Don't be afraid. And I look forward to hearing from you. And again, if you know who this player is above me, let me know. I'll be happy to shout you out in the next video. See you guys soon.